the whole world shaking, and you feel your heart is breaking. Take my hand, no hesitating. Oh, when you're just so tired of trying, all alone you feel like hiding. Together we'll keep fighting. There's no stopping us. Hold on, we're gonna make it. We're gonna make it. Don't stop now. Hold on, we're gonna make it. We're gonna mountains too high we can climb it. Feel this, we're taking the moment. There's no stopping us. Hold on, we're gonna make it. We're gonna make it. Can you see the sun is shining like a new hope? Feel it rising, coming over the horizon. There's no stopping us. Hold on, we're gonna make it. We're gonna make it. Don't stop now. Hold on, we're gonna make it. We're gonna mountains too high we can climb it. Feel this, we're taking the moment. There's no stopping us. Hold on, we're gonna make it. We're gonna make it. Don't you give up, don't you give up on me. Don't you give up, don't you give up now. Don't you give up, don't you give up on me. Don't you give up, don't you give up now. Don't you give up, don't you give up on me. Don't you give up, don't you give up now. Don't you give up, don't you give up on me. Don't you give up, don't you give up now. There's no stopping.
Good evening, everybody. Hope your day is going great. It was a beautiful, beautiful day today. It's May 15th. I guess we were in the 70s. We received good news this week that we could, in most situations, if we were vaccinated and fully vaccinated, then we no longer have to wear our mask. And unless you're going to a store that's going to require them, they mentioned Harris Teeter's and Kroger's, which is fine. I'm fine with that. I'm so glad we're getting out of this predicament. We still have to abide by certain rules, which is fine by me. Last night, I went with my wife. We went to the Ferguson Center to see an American composers concert. We haven't seen a concert over a year, and we loved it. It was social distance. There was a lot of empty seats in between, but we're coming back. We're coming back. And along with that, before I get into the topic today, I feel confident that more people will list their homes. That's what I'm hoping, because we really need listings. So just to throw that in, okay, because I believe many people held back because of fear of COVID and having potential buyers walk through their house, and especially when you have an open house. But I think we will be heading out of that with more listings coming on the market. So, all right, let me do my little introduction, my little previews to go over what we're going to discuss today. Okay. So today we're going to talk with Ace Abellana. She's the Director of Business Development for Rocket Title Inc. Now, I think it's going to be very helpful, especially if you first-time home buyers out there, because you basically understand what the mortgage loan officer does and why you need that person. But a lot of people are not sure exactly what the title company does. So I think this is going to be very informative and helpful. And let me bring in now Ace Abellana.
Hey,
Hi.
Chris. Hi, how are you?
Hi. Can you
Thank
hear
you
and
so
see?
much for having me. Yes, I can definitely hear you.
Okay, very good, very good. How's your day going so far?
It's great. I have my kids. It's beautiful out. So once we're done with dinner, I might go for a walk later and, enjoy a little bit of the sun and the rest of the weekend. So
Yeah, tomorrow's supposed to be
warming
nice as
up.
well. Sounds good. Sounds good. It's going to be a great day tomorrow as well.
I'm so excited.
So, tell us a little bit about your background. I understand you were also in real estate and moved on. So let us know a little bit of your background.
Well, first off, thank you so much for having me on your podcast and entrusting me and Rocket Title as your, trusted title company in Hampton Roads. Prior to real estate title, I was a real estate agent with Berkshire Hathaway for several years. And then I dabbled into some land acquisition for a home builder out in Maryland. I really enjoyed that side of the transaction as well, as I got to kind of see how homes developed from the ground up. And now in real estate title, I'm on the end of the transaction. And pretty much real estate title is the transfer of ownership from owner to owner, buyer to seller, seller to buyer. And we also insure title insurance for our consumers.
All right. So now someone has purchased a home. All right. They, probably what they should do first when I tell everybody, you must get your pre-qualification first or your pre-approval from your loan officer. That's a whole other topic. Right. It was important before. It's even more important now because there's so much competition for homes. So once we put an offer on a house, that pre-qualification letter has to be with the contract. It can't wait till the next day or the day after that. The house is going to be gone. So that's very important. So now they have a ratified contract. Everybody's in agreement. And now if I'm representing the buyer, I send all the paperwork to you, the contract, this copy of the earnest money deposit.
Which we hold.
Which is good because eXp Realty doesn't hold it. So I would be sending it to you.
Correct.
And once that paperwork is in, what are you doing then for the buyer? What's your functions? What are your tasks?
So Rocket Title, we've been in business for over 6 years. In the Hampton Roads area. And some of the functions that Rocket Title, serves is that we acquire title search right away. We hold earnest money deposit funds for escrow for the agents. We complete an examination of the property and its return, and the title commitment is prepared within 48 hours. We may complete a survey depending on the buyer, which we highly recommend as it supports, the final title policy. A DBS is prepared, which is also known as a deed bargain of sale from our attorneys. And then we prepare a preliminary settlement statement, and we send it out to all parties for review, ensuring invoices are correct, commissions, and so forth. A final CD, which is a closing disclosure, an updated title search, and we make sure the title search is clear, and then, certified funds are bought for closing day.
And for our first-time home buyers out there, you have to get out that closing doc 3 days before the actual closing, correct?
Correct.
Right. And this is for the buyer to review them It's goes under truth in lending. They want to completely understand the terms of the what actually that's actually coming from the bank itself. Yeah.
Correct.
So that's very important. A lot
And
of
the
times.
loan officer, sorry to interrupt, the loan officer will go through it with their consumer.
Right.
Their loan payments, interest, any defaults, in the event they do default and so forth. So they go through it prior to the closing table. Now, at the closing table, we just briefly go over it as well, verbally. As you know, sometimes some people don't read as much, but that's what we're here for.
And one thing I like about what Rocket Title does, and I believe we discussed that before, is that you're doing the title search as soon as you're receiving it. You're not waiting to see if the home inspection went well, correct?
Correct. We order a title search right away, prior to inspection and appraisal. So all parties are on the up and up.
Yeah.
And then we go to closing day, on time.
And that's so important because, and again, in today's market, it moves so quickly. And we have to make sure that once we have that ratified contract, once you do that title search,
Correct.
There's no clouds on any title that has to be cleared up. So you don't want to find that out like 2 weeks before closing. You want to find that, 4 weeks before closing if there's going to be any type of difficulties.
Right.
And that's, and for new home buyers, they have to understand that when you're buying a house and if it had several owners, we have houses here in Virginia that were built around the early 1900s. All right. And so, throughout that time period, from that time to 2021, there's been several we're working at home, everybody, so don't worry.
My son's next to me.
That's okay. So many times these houses have gone through many owners.
Correct.
And you might have a situation, for instance, someone along that line passed away, and in their will, or what should have gone through their children, there could have been one child. Maybe the child was estranged or whatever. They were in contact, and they never received that. They were supposed to get part ownership of that or some sort of inheritance on that.
Right.
And sometimes these things happen. Yeah, it's common. So you want to make sure, as the buyer, once you have you have ownership, or you move in, that no one else could come out and claim that, hey, I own part of the house. Right.
Ownership to the property.
Right.
And that's where title insurance comes in, to protect the lifetime of your home. Right.
And that was the next step. Like when a lot of people think, and I thought about it myself as well, the title insurance is to make sure if there are any defects in the title, that the new owner is not liable for that. Correct. Now, some people might say, well, I'm like buying insurance. The title company did a background, they did a search of the title. Why do I have to pay if something went wrong there? Now, there's a lot of things that could go wrong, correct? And basically, when you do a title search, how far back do you go? Isn't there like a limit to maybe you go up to maybe 3 or 4 years to see who are owners of the property?
Roughly.
Right. So something might happen again that happened in the 1950s or 60s that went wrong, okay? And I'm suggesting that it may not only have been like a child that was supposed to have gained partial ownership to it, but sometimes there are, misspellings or
clerical errors.
Clerical errors or the number for the plot is written wrong. So you have
something that's as simple as that, you would not think could be a major issue when it comes to just closing. Those are just very minor issues to start with.
Do you also have two types of title insurance? Like some closing companies have like a basic policy, and some have a little bit more advanced. Do you have two separate type of title policies for insurance, for title insurance?
Well, it's an owner's policy. So owner's policy is an optional service you can shop for, and it's important and affordable, which protects you that you can buy for a one-time fee at closing, and it usually protects the entire time you own the home.
Okay, that's good.
Yeah, it's pretty standard.
Now
And then there's also the lender's policy. The lender, the lender usually will require you to purchase title insurance to protect the lender's investment as well.
Okay, that's good. Now, let's say I'm representing the seller. I'm listing a home, and someone has put an offer on it. I give you the paperwork. Is it the same procedure? Are you doing anything different for the seller as for opposed for the buyer?
It's very much a similar procedure. Again, ordering, title search. The biggest difference between a closing for a buyer and a seller is a buyer, signs a third of the paperwork, and that needs at closing. A buyer brings proceed funds, like the closing costs on closing day, with a certified check, such as a cashier's check. A seller doesn't have a significant amount of paperwork to sign. It doesn't involve buyers. It requires less signatures. And usually, if it's cash, it requires even less paperwork for signatures. And for a seller, they usually need to bring a voided check.
Okay.
To have their funds dispersed to them, or they want it mailed or wired, and so forth.
Okay.
Yep.
And for cash deals, like cash deals, we were talking about that. You could do. Oh, I think you said sometimes maybe even faster than 2 weeks.
3 days.
3 days. Okay.
Now, it depends if it's a condominium. There is a resale package, communicating back and forth with them, and depending on their timeline, the soonest they can provide a resale package, then usually it'll be 2 weeks. But, straight cash, 3 days.
Okay, that's good. That's good. Now, you work both sides of the water, correct? You're Virginia
Correct.
Beach? Okay.
Yes. And we work out in the peninsula.
Very good. That sounds good.
And we also do, Mike, our closing manager, has closed people in hospitals, offices, their homes.
Okay.
So, and we can acquire a mobile notary in the event that, like they require it. So we're very accommodating.
That sounds good. That sounds good. Very good.
I mean, you have to be. It's real estate. Real estate, it's everywhere.
Yeah.
So.
And I mean, honestly, we had a rough year, and we had to make a lot of changes, in the way we do our business. Some of it will stay. I think a lot of the Zoom meetings will stay. It's a little bit more convenient. You don't have to travel as much. It's fast. I mean, prior to this, we had all of the, signatures of paperwork done with DocuSign. That sped up the process a lot. So it's becoming very, very, hi. How are you?
My son, Roman.
Hi, Roman. How are you? Good. All right. Let me show Mom's contact information. So we have the office number and Ace's
cell
number. And you could also email her below. Now, what Ace has done, she's typed up the replies to the questions we'll ask later on. I'll probably do it tomorrow, Monday, but I'll post the replies on my blog, Real Estate with Mr. G.blog, and it'll be a nice review. Again, a lot of people are not aware of all the functions that a title company does. It's very, very important. You definitely want to make sure that your title is clear and clear of defects.
Yes,
and if something is found from years ago, you need that title insurance. Right? It's very important. Okay.
I mean, some issues like that may occur during or moving towards closing are loan conditions, and 10% of the time it's solving title issues. such
Yeah.
as release deeds of trust and estate issues, probate for a will or a list of their heirs, and the
Right.
logistics of acquiring, you know, the heirs' information. I had to do that a couple of weeks ago where I had to drive up to Newport News for a sale on a home. And we got some really nitty gritty deals, and I had to acquire her will. She was a living individual, but,
Right.
you know, it was, the will was under her name and her son wanted to sell it. So it got really complicated. But that's, you know, and also acquiring a power of attorney. This is a very heavily heavy
Right.
military area.
Okay.
And when service members are gone, they're going to need someone on their behalf to acquire signatures. The wives are usually around, so you know, making sure that you have power of attorney
Yeah.
that can do that for you. Now, also, if a property is inherited, making sure that the will is recorded and has gone through probate, so the list of heirs have been filed. Another one I've seen is also when a homeowner has made structural renovations to their home. You know, we hope that they do things correctly, and permits and code are up to par. Otherwise, that pushes closing as well.
I think it's almost, I don't know if it's mandatory, but in most situations when the spouse goes out on deployment, you know, the other spouse will have power of attorney.
Correct.
To do these type of deals. It's almost like, it's like 99% of the time that happens. So so that's
Especially when the market is moving fast. You know?
Yeah.
Got to move quick with it. Adapt.
Yeah. It's true, and it's really so fast moving right now, and you want to make sure, you know, if I'm representing the buyer, there's no stumbling blocks in the road as we get to closing. We try to get that cleared up as much as possible. So I mean
communication is extremely important as well. With all parties, and something that Rocket Title can provide is those personal touches with you and your client. We wouldn't just like make you have you as a middleman for the transaction. You know, there's only so much you can do. And with us, we try to put a face to the name or build that relationship with the clients. And we want to serve you guys right and provide that service, you know, exceptionally.
And I think you said with Rocket Title, it's very automated. So as the client's file moves along the process, they get updates.
Correct. Frequent updates.
Yeah. So no one is I have no idea what's going on. They know what's going on through your company.
Right. Or I'll chase you down myself.
Can I see my ski?
All right.
I'll chase you down.
All right. Oh, you chase. Oh, you okay.
Me and my processes, yeah.
Very good.
Very good at that. We've saved deals all the time, and just, we want to get you to the closing table. We want you to get that buyer into a new home, the seller into a new home. So it's just a revolving door.
That sounds good. Okay. All right then.
Well, awesome. Thank you so much for having me.
And thanks for coming on.
Of course. I hope to do more of these with you. Any other questions, reach out. Our office line, 757-306-4668, or my cell, or message us on Facebook.
Okay. And that's how we first met.
I know.
You posted some good questions. I replied, and then we met, and here we are today.
I love it. Here we are today. Let's do more of these, Chris.
All right. Okay. So I'll see you
Thanks for having me.
No problem. I'll see you next time.
Definitely. Take care. Have a good weekend.
All right. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Okay. So I hope that was very informative. You picked up a lot of good information from that, and I'm going to leave her information up here a little bit longer. I did want to bring in, I started the podcast with our needs for listings. I have a little video right now about getting your house ready for spring. Spring and summer are like the hardest time for the real estate market because children are coming out of school, and we have a lot of people on transfers, whether it's the military, whether it's a business transfer, and they try to get this all done So by September, their children are in a new school. But I really believe, as long as we keep on this good path, that the fall and winter is going to be very busy this year as well, because again, a lot of people held back from putting their homes on the market. I believe that will change as long as we stay on the straight and narrow. So let me show you first this little, let me just put this to the side, and this little video here on getting your house ready. And again, on my blog, I have Selling Your House, a nice guide for your review. And actually, these are updated every season. So soon I should be having things to consider when selling your house, and it'll be the summer edition. All right, but it's going to be talking about how to deal with today's market. And of course, there's also a on that the same page is the when buying a home, and that will be updated probably in June. Okay, so I hope you found today's show to be very, very informative. Please, through all the avenues that this podcast is going out, if you're ready to sell your home, if you're ready to buy a home, please reach out to me. I would love to help. So keep on going. If you are not vaccinated, wear your mask. If you go into a Kroger's or a Harris Teeter, they want you to wear a mask. Please wear a mask. Get vaccinated if you haven't. Keep your social distancing. And as I always say, the greatest power we have is to love, and the greatest gift is each other. So we'll see you next week.